Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Municipality of Monroeville's public budget meeting, Citizens Night, and Council Work Session. Today is Thursday, November 7th, approximately 7 p.m., 2013. I should add that in. If we'd all kindly rise for the Lord's Prayer, and followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before I start our meeting, I have an announcement, and this is for members of council. Last week we had a lot of text messaging going on between some in the audience, as well as up here on council. I would ask that all council members please put their cell phones away. If I catch you texting, I will stop the meeting and ask you to get off the DOS. If you're not interested in doing the people's business, you don't need to be sitting up here. The next thing I want to address is that we have it's scheduled for the public budget meeting or citizens night. I'm going to ask you, since you all took the time to come down, which would you prefer? The budget meeting first or citizens night? It is done. And right now, as I said, ladies and gentlemen, I will start off with the list, and again, I will open it up to anybody else that would like to address council. So Grace, you're up first. Please state your name, and you do not have to state your address, but that you live in Monroeville.
Okay, good evening. My name is Grace Cackley. I'm a resident of Monroeville since 1959. A wise person once said, 2 things you can't avoid in life are death and taxes. But due to modern medicine, there's another one called old age. It isn't that bad if you keep busy and stay active. For many of us, that means going to the center and enjoying the activities that it provides. Tonight, I'm not only here speaking as a resident, but I'm also here as a representative to the Monroeville Council of Senior Citizens. This council has operated the center since it opened its doors in 1979. We, the members of the council, are here tonight to speak to you about our concerns with the proposed 2014 budget. This proposed budget, of which I speak, was presented to the Senior Center by Mrs. McKinney, the municipal manager, on Thursday, October the 3rd. At this time, Mrs. McKinney informed us that she was presenting a budget to the municipal council that combines the senior center with the Parks and Recreation Department. Although this sounds simple, it is far from it. Senior council had many concerns and questions upon receiving this information, and we're not happy to hear the combining of these 2 departments was done without an actual cost-saving analysis being done. As anyone with facility management experience will know, additional use of any facility brings in additional associated costs. Among these additional costs are increased utilities, building maintenance, janitorial supplies, and employee costs. None of these were considered in the proposed budget, even though they were brought to the attention of the manager by senior council. In addition, we would like the municipal council to be aware that 2 positions, one janitorial and one secretarial, were eliminated from the proposed budget. How can you increase the usage of a building and not need additional staff to operate, supervise, and clean the facility? Another additional cost that the municipal council needs to consider are the added costs that the senior council will not continue to pay if you combine these 2 departments. Since the doors of the center were opened in the 70s, The seniors have put thousands of dollars into the building each year. Senior Council paid for 4 additions to the building at no cost to the taxpayers of Monroeville. Each year, Council pays thousands of dollars into building maintenance and supplies of the building. If the building is to be shared, is it fair to make the Senior Council continue to pay for these items? If none of these costs were assured, then we have to ask, from where are those proposed savings arising? Why wasn't extensive planning and discussion between both departments and the Senior Council done prior to the change being proposed? A major change, such as this is in any other business, would take months of analyzing and planning prior to an actual vote. You were never given a realistic budget to vote on. I know a budget must be made, and I have no qualms with that, but why must the center be the only entity that must be targeted year after year? Why can't you just leave the senior center to the seniors as it's always been? Please be aware that if you're lucky enough to become a senior citizen, the community service that previous councils felt strongly enough to create and maintain may be your only lifeline to a quality of life. I would also like to note that a special meeting was held on Friday, October the 18th, at the center by our council, and it was unanimously voted no to the proposed change. Mr. Ramsey, as my representative on council and a senior citizen yourself, I personally would like to see you vote no on that proposal. Thank you.
You got it.
Marilyn, come on up. Once again, Marilyn, you can state your name for the record, that you live in Monroeville, but not your address.
Marilyn Cohn, a resident of Monroeville for 18 years and a member of the Senior Citizen Center. I am very upset when I come to the center and hear community center. Has a budget been passed? Why are we not Monroeville senior citizens? Why are we referred to as a community center? When I look at a budget and I see parks and recreation and all the positions have been eliminated, what are you telling me? What are you hiding? Come forward and let us know what is going on. Also, I would like to tell you that our Senior Citizen Center has had increased attendance thanks to Tara Graysock, our director. She has had many, many programs. More and more people are coming to the center. How can you let Parks and Recreation come in and have their activities and not communicate with the center or the residents of Monroeville? And one other thing, when you look at the figures of the budget that you are giving the Monroeville senior citizens, are you taking into consideration $100,000 of that figure is for retired personnel from the center and their health benefits? So let's re-examine the budget and let's make a forward to communicate. I thank you very much for your time.
I believe it's VK, and I can't make out the last name, so Shearer, okay, I apologize.
That's okay.
Please come on up, state your name, but not your address, but that you are a resident of Monroeville.
My name is Veronica K. Shearer. I'm a resident of Monroeville and also of the Senior Center. I think it is a wonderful establishment. I don't think that anything should ever come between the seniors and their building. It's a nice small building. It's not a large building. If you want to have a community center, pick another larger building. Heck, you have 1,000 in Monroeville. Find it. They're supposed to even close a school. That would be perfect, just perfect for your community center. Thank you very much. I'm pleased to have spoken in front of you. Thank you.
Ed Dill.
Good evening. My name is Ed Deal. I've been a resident of Monroeville for 42 years. And the people that put this center together previously were probably rolling over in their graves when they hear which action you're trying to take. They've done a great job of putting all this together. It's not broken. It doesn't need fixed. Leave it alone. Thank you.
Judith Dill.
Good evening. My name's Judith Thiel, and I've been a resident 42 years. And we have watched this community grow and grow into what it is today. And also, most of the senior citizens have helped this community grow and grow. So I really don't understand why you would take a senior center off of them that they have paid for and worked hard for all their lives. It's just not right. And we do not need a community center with the seniors. We're just happy the way it is, and when you get to be seniors, you'll enjoy it too. Thank you.
Sam Garfolo.
I'm here tonight on a little bit different subject. There's enough seniors to take care of that, but you should take care of them. Mr. Mayor, I have a question. Do our employees have residency requirement?
That is correct.
Okay, so I understand we're chiefless again? Our chief is out on a stress-related disability, which you can't talk about, it's personnel.
I have no idea.
But his house is black, he's not here. Is he not living in Monroeville? I mean, there are residency requirements, and if you're on disability, I would think you're going to some type of a doctor, and I just don't know how we have a residency requirement and he's not required to uphold it. His
Sam?
children were removed from school. They're no longer in school. They're being homeschooled. And I know he's not in Monroeville. So maybe we need to have that law firm that's probably still on retainer. Maybe they could investigate if he's living in Monroeville. I did live here for 28 years while I worked here. I still live here, but why does he not have to live here? So somebody should look into it, and I think there needs to be an investigation done. Also, if he's not running a department, who's in charge of the police department?
Right now, one of our sergeants are.
Is he being compensated at the chief's level?
I do not know that. I cannot.
Well, I
answer
think
that.
he should be. I don't know which one it is. I won't say I know who it is, but he should be compensated.
Yeah, I do too,
If
but
he's doing the job of the chief of police, he should be compensated at that level. But I think you need to look into where is our chief. If he's on disability, he should still be residing in Monroeville. But I'll ask you to drive by his house and never see anybody there, no vehicles, nothing. I know he's conserving energy, he keeps the lights off. But I think that law firm should somebody should investigate it. Maybe we need to hire another separate attorney that can investigate that for us.
As you well know, Sam, that's an employee issue, and I cannot address it publicly.
I know, but I know we have a residency requirement, and it's not fair. Everybody else has to live here, and he's now out on a stress-related disability, and he is not living in Monroeville. So I think someone needs to look into that.
Let's keep a little bit decorum here, folks, okay? Lou Smith.
My name's Lou Smith, Monroeville. I told the mayor earlier I dressed in red tonight because I feel a little devilish because it's Halloween. Well, I saw in the paper, and everybody knows by now, that the arbitration award has come down for Doug Cole to being reinstated as the Assistant Chief of Police. And I'd just like to go over a few things about the arbitration award. I'm certainly not going to read the whole report. It's 14 pages long, but I am going to paraphrase different aspects of it. The arbitrator in this case was Ronald F. Tallarico, Esquire. He was appointed to be the arbitrator through the Court of Common Pleas. Judge O'Reilly This was agreed to by the municipality and Doug's attorneys. The action on the arbitration is a result of an order by the Court of Common Pleas by Judge O'Reilly. The arbitrator ruled that Doug Cole should be reinstated and mandated to return to the rank of Assistant Police Chief with all back pay and benefits. Tallarico's findings were that the Home Rule Charter and Cole's contract had been violated. Lynette McKinney, our borough manager, thought she could violate Home Rule Charter and civil service because it was her prerogative to do so. And that's stated in the findings. Tallarico stated, and I quote, "This was ridiculous." She went further and stated at one point that she was doing Doug Cole a favor by making him a sergeant and not dismissing him outright without cause. Tallarico stated, and I quote, that this was lunacy. The arbitrator ruling is absolute. There's no appeals to be allowed to any court per Judge O'Reilly. Instead of following the clear mandates of the Home Rule Charter, that she as interim manager remove Cole without cause, she then ordered him to report to then acting Chief Pascarella for his reassignment to the previous rank of sergeant. Tallarico stated, against this background of crystal clear statutory authority and its express written agreement between the parties calling for the result indicated above the municipality's offers, what charitably be described as fanciful reasons for not following the clear mandates referenced above, forcing Cole to resort to litigation to claim a position to which he was clearly and unambiguously entitled. In essence, Lynette McKinney overstepped her bounds and did all this to Cole clearly to violate his rights not only under the civil service but also the Home Rule Charter. What she did was put the cart before the horse, and we have to pay the price for that. Furthermore, prior to taking the aforesaid actions, she was clearly advised by Solicitor Dice's office to not demote Cole to sergeant and not to pass him on assistant chief because it would be a violation of his contract. She thought he had the power. She thought she had the power to do it anyhow, and did it. And now we find out she clearly did not have that power. This is the problem when council puts an inexperienced, unqualified person in this position in the first place. The award on this here was signed by Tallarico on November the 1st, 2013, and it says, the municipality shall reinstate Cole to the position of the Assistant Chief of Police together with payment of all lost wages and benefits. This matter shall be remanded to the parties to attempt to calculate the specific measure of damages. If the parties are unable to, further proceedings will be conducted. Jurisdiction shall be retained in order to ensure compliance with this award. That's all I have to say on that matter. I'd like at this time to thank all the residents for coming out on the election. Again, we had a positive result for Monroeville. I got to congratulate Mayor Arasenko and Ron Harvey for their wins. And also congratulate Tom Wilson, Linda Gatos, and Paul Caleri for their wins. Very shortly, we are coming to the end of this fiasco of the past 10 months. I don't know if anybody ever seen the movie The Perfect Storm, starring George Clooney, but it's about a storm that came through the northeast part of the United States, and that's what the story's about. And there was 3 fronts that all come together and made this storm of the century. Well, for the past 10 months here, what we have had is a perfect storm of political ineptness run by 4 members of council here. A coalition of 4 council members, the manager, the CFO worksman, and the chief of police, and a few others. I don't think you could put these 4 people together, or this coalition together, if you tried in the next 100 years and get the results that we've had. There should be a report coming very shortly from the Dickie McCamey Chilcote from the investigation that was done. I'm going to teach you a new word tonight. I know Bruce Dice will know what this means. And although I haven't seen the report, like I said, I do know a few things that's in it. And there was a lot of falsifications in there. And the word I want to teach you is crime and falsi. And what that is, it's Latin, and it means false in one, you're false in all. And there's several people in that report that lied against Doug Cole. And I just want you to remember that name, because when it comes up downtown, you're going to hear it a lot. And then we're going to be speaking about the chief of police. He engineered this entire scenario that's happened here in Monroeville. The removal of Doug Cole. This all had to do with him. And it was a disgrace what they did to him and his family. And all of a sudden, he's gone. Where did he go? Sammy Garfola just wanted to know that. I want to refer to you to another thing, not a movie, but I don't know if everybody remembers this, but I remember it, and it's dating myself maybe a little bit, but they had a commercial on TV many years ago. There was an elderly lady advertising hamburgers for Wendy's. And it was, "Where's the beef?" Well, I think we ought to employ one of these young senior citizens back here. And we got a TV station, and we ought to make our own commercial. And it shouldn't be, "Where's the beef?" It should be, "Where's the chief?" Mayor, does anybody know where he's at?
You know, Lou, I cannot respond. That's an employee issue.
All right, well, he's not in Monroeville, so he must be somewhere close by. Now, last month, I spoke here, and after I left, I didn't even pick on Lois for the last couple meetings. Here I leave. I'm not gone 15 minutes. I go home. I turn the TV on because I had to be home. And here she is up here telling me she wants me to check the firearm I carry in my sock. I was going to bring a sock in with a roll of quarters tonight and wave it around, but I figured I better not do that. I might get arrested. But anyway, I've been carrying a firearm for 47 years of my life. And I do it for a reason. If somebody would come in here right now, there's an officer in the back of this room right here, and somebody would come in here and do something violent where somebody's life was in danger up here, I would be the first person, and I know Sammy Garfola and every cop in this room right here would be behind me, assisting this officer with a firearm or with our whatever physical means that we had to do. We'd be protecting all of you, even you, Lois. Now, I'm going to tell you something about police officers, okay? Police officers are a little bit like the military. It's like a quasi-military organization. Police officers have a very unique thing in life, as does the military. And they are one of 2 professions that you're asked to go to work every day to either save a life, take a life maybe, or maybe give your own in the performance of your duty. It's an awesome, awesome responsibility. And I did that for 30 years. And I think I'm qualified to carry a firearm anywhere I want. And I'll tell you why. Number one, I have a permit from Allegheny County to carry one. And back in 2007, under H.R. 218, which, passed the Congress of the United States, the Senate, the House of Representatives, and was signed by the President of these United States, I have a national permit. I carry a firearm anywhere in this country, anytime I want. And the last time I looked, this said this was Monroeville. It wasn't Tombstone territory. Wyatt Earp is not at the door to check firearms. But I thought about that. Old Wyatt Earp, he used to collect all the guns before anybody come into Tombstone. I think I'm going to nickname Lois Wyetta. And I do want to ask, Mayor, if you would ask Lois one question for me, because she brought this up last week, and I want to know what she was talking about. She said that I was out patrolling houses in Monroeville, councilmen's houses, and it was like a form of stalking. I'd like to know what she was talking about, because I certainly have not done that. Do you want to answer that question? I guess she's just going to stare at me. Well, I'm not going to get an answer. I've listened to her ramblings the last 4 years about her Cabbage Patch and all that other stuff. I do know this. I've heard a lot of things that she said, and my opinion is that, and always will be, that Lois, you're just one puppy shy of a full pet shop.
No, please. One of the things that I think, Lou, you did not say, and I'm very glad that you retired officers do carry your weapons that are qualified. They are part of the Homeland Security. If, God forbid, if we get attacked by a foreign entity, that is another line of defense beside our police, our military, and et cetera. And those of us, and I'm one of them, I also have a license to carry a weapon. I do not carry it in here ever. Most of the times I don't carry it because I still feel very safe in our community and in our whole country. But I just want to thank all the retired officers that do carry your weapons. I do know that you still, even though you're retired, would put your life on the line to save anybody sitting here or up here. To our police department and our officer back here, there's not enough words to thank them for what they do every day. Ralph Greco.
Ralph Greco, I live in Monroeville.
And Ralph asked me to read a letter that he would like entered into the record, and it's a suggestion box for the borough building, put it in the lobby. He would also like one at Public Works, not just for employees, but for any resident, that you sign your name to it, or you do not have to. He thinks that we could get some great ideas to improve the services that we provide all of you as residents, and I certainly think that's a great idea. And obviously, we would review any of those suggestions coming in. He would also stated that many people feel uncomfortable in speaking publicly and would like to allow for another way or for a more open relationship with council, employees, and the public to communicate. Ralph, I'm just going to say this, and I'll say this not just to you, to any resident here. You certainly know that you can call your council persons, their numbers are on there, and you know I give out my cell phone freely, so, and I'll do it even here publicly. It's 412-818-1584. You can certainly call me on my cell, or my office number. Certainly, any of your council here and your newly elected council, they'll have office numbers, so you can certainly communicate that way if anybody's uncomfortable sitting up here. He would also like to see the home rule charter change to have a 5 vote instead of a 4 vote for any major decisions, be it for removals, demotions, promotions, or et cetera. And your last question is, when will Doug Cole be reinstated? Again, that's an employee issue, but you know I've made it publicly, known publicly how I feel about Doug, and I will not back off that. I will work with the new council, and if I have anything to do with it, he'll be back in January. So we'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
Would you like to say anything else, Ralph?
I just hope that, and I foresee that this new council will be working with the public so that we can get back to being a wonderful community like we were before.
Amen, Ralph. And let me just say this, and I'll say this publicly as well. I've talked with the newly elected, obviously, and I communicate with our minority council that'll be back in January. We will be opening up the doors to you much more than what you've seen in the past couple of years. We will also take all your suggestions. Everybody knows we have a tough situation coming up next year with the budget, and that's not going to go away easily. But the real issue is, we're going to have to make some tough decisions. Certainly, your input is going to be very important to that. We all get along. It doesn't mean that we're not going to disagree, but you'll never see it out here. Our disagreements will be behind closed doors as they should be. So things are going to change dramatically. Hopefully, our last couple of months will stay the same and just get back to the business of the people.
I do want to say our public works is really, they're incredible. And the employees here are scared to death to even talk or even make a suggestion.
Ralph, I can't answer for that.
And I hope
I do
that
not know
changes.
that, but all I can tell you is that things are going to change, and you all made that change up here on council, you as the voters. So that's all I can tell you. Things are going to get positive.
I thank you.
Thank you. Tom Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor.
State your name for the record, please.
Oh, Tom Wilson, Monroeville, newly elected councilperson for the 7th Ward. Ladies and gentlemen, in today's Tribune Review dated November 7th, 2013, the headlines read, Peduto asked mayor to avoid spending, hiring for the city of Pittsburgh. In that same spirit, the 4 councilpersons-elect ask that you hold off on any major personnel decision involving spending or hiring in our municipality for the rest of this year. As you are aware, the financial status of our municipality remains precarious. It is important that prudent actions on behalf of the residents of our municipality are taken to ensure a smooth transition. The majority council now lame duck. We would ask that you take the fact under consideration in the next 2 months so the council is not faced with undoing your actions for the remainder of this year. It is time to move our municipality in a positive direction without personal attacks. Let's get to the business of moving Monroeville forward. This is signed by myself and the 3 new council people. I would like to give this in for the public record.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. I just have last name Peterson, so. Is that, oh, this is just our Willow Hedge group?
This is the
Oh,
Willow Hedge
okay, so
group.
this would be Peterson's is that
Cranics,
Cranics? Okay, Cooper, and that looks like, okay.
Richmond.
Richmond.
We're the,
Well, how about, let's do this here, folks. How about one at a time? At least put your name on the record that you
Where-
live in Monroeville.
Val and Terry Peterson, we live in Monroeville.
Next.
Crystal and Tim Kranick, we also reside in Monroeville.
Mark Richmond, Monroeville.
John Cooper, Monroeville.
Jason Quinn, Monroeville.
David Quinn, Monroeville.
Very good. Is there a spokesperson, or are you all going to take time to?
We were here a month ago.
That's correct.
And signed in at different times, so you suggested back then that we all get this done at once.
Yes.
So I don't.
That's why I asked, is there a spokesperson, or
We're here for
or
an
do you want an
update.
individual?
Well, we just wanted an update.
Last
We
month,
can't-
we were
yeah.
provided, we were told to come back this month that there would be a plan for the plan.
A plan for a plan.
For the budget or the capital budget for 2012, how we were going to fix the flooding of Willow Hedge residents.
Well, I'm going to turn that over to you, Paul. I don't know if you have a plan to start the plan. There's, forgive me for,
We've actually already started.
Very good.
We're underway with an analysis of the Willow Hedge plan. I'm sure the residents have seen some activity in their backyards, on the street. We're in a process of identifying the conveyance system, which there were some things that were buried that we had to find. Inspections of the pipe are being undertaken. Most of them were done visually. We had inspectors that actually went down inside the pipes to look at them, what the conditions were. Some of them, they don't fit. So the municipal authority is going to assist us with their camera truck to videotape those pipes. Part of the problem is the system goes from Willow Hedge all the way to the Parkway. So there's a pretty long distance that we have to undertake here, most of which has been, again, we've found what it is. In your packets, you'll see a budget transfer tonight that frees up some money so we can have that system surveyed and analysis done, hydraulic analysis done, so we can come up with some answers.
And when might we expect that? The answers? Because this is just part of the plan.
It is part of the plan.
Okay.
And I really can't give you that answer until I know that we can move forward with that.
So from our residence to all the way to the Parkway, you're saying there's problems?
No, I'm
From
not.
there all the way to the Parkway?
No, I'm not saying that. But an analysis, a hydraulic analysis has to be done from the Willow Hedge plan through the piping system to the Parkway. That is where it ends up. That's where the water ultimately ends up. So that entire system has to be looked at.
would this,
Well,
If I may, there is currently an amendment in an ordinance for almost $33,000 in, I'm sorry?
go ahead, I'm sorry, Steve.
In engineering. So they're asking for an amendment to provide
Okay.
$33,000 of engineering for this project. I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's all right.
But he seems.
So the ball is rolling.
and I understand that, but $33,000 is not going to fix my flooding problem.
No, it's not.
It's not going to stop the fact that that pipe that comes out of the middle of nowhere
It's
and dumps
absolutely not.
all that water is not going to fix that. And I'm going to flood again and again and again.
And I think there is some conversation in regards to a possible drainage ditch that we could put at the park
I mean,
to alleviate.
until we can put our arms around the whole system and what is going on, we can't tell you what is going to happen. We
Is
have
that
to
pipe
fig-
legal that comes out of the, is that pipe legal that comes out of the,
On Logan's Ferry Road?
that pipe that dumps nowhere, that's not tied in anywhere? Is that legal?
Well, here's the problem. That pipe was in existence before the Willow Hedge plan was developed.
I don't care about that. I
Well,
really don't.
Well,
I
that pipe,
don't. For 25 years, I've been flooding. And don't get that face, okay? Don't start making faces, because quite frankly,
Well, you're making
You-
some faces yourself,
I'm the one that's getting flooded.
and I'm trying to explain to you what is going on.
I think, Paul, a big problem that we're having is, Jamie has come by several times, and, he's not the best personably at all. He comes
I'd
across...
beg to differ with you on that.
Well, Paul, you got to let me finish here, because
Okay,
you
go
haven't
ahead.
talked to him as we have. You haven't been a flooding victim. So to talk to somebody...
How do you know that?
Oh, I'm sorry, have you been?
Yes,
On numerous occasions?
yes.
Are you still being flooded?
No, because I fixed my
Your problem's
problem.
been taken care of?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that your problem's been taken care of. Ours hasn't. And I can empathize with you, as I'm sure you can with us. But when this gentleman comes and tells us in an arrogant fashion and very condescending that that's not why you're getting flooded, and tells me specifically he's concerned with one of my neighbors, who is never here, it's a little bit insulting. And to say that he sees that water, that pipe is open, there's nothing we can do about it. And I say to him, well, we're all going to still be flooded. And he shrugs his shoulders. What kind of response do you think we're supposed to have to something like that?
Well, Jamie's a pretty easygoing guy, and he does
Where
well
where is
interacting
this
with the
pipe?
public.
Where is this pipe located?
It's behind Richmond's house.
Right off Logan Ferry, there, you put a path in years ago, and there's a plaque there.
It's a walking path, correct?
Yeah, that walking path, there's a grate on Logan Ferry, and actually, there's a grate across the street, and come to find out, that grate was...
No, you can address me. Go ahead, continue.
That grate was tied into the grate on our side, so the water problems have exacerbated.
Mayor, I'm allowed to
It's-
comment, correct?
Steve, you're
I thought there was an issue, I'm sorry.
No.
It's, the open pipe is right off Logan Ferry, right near that walking path. The grate is right beside that walking path. It's tied into grates on the other side of the street. I go out there, and it doesn't have to be a rainstorm. It can
And
be a
it's
water-
dumping out onto
It's-
the property.
There's no,
It's not only dumping out on the property, when you look from the street level down in through that grate, it's actually bubbling over. There is so much water that comes through there, it's
It's
gushing.
a stream
It's
to our
gu- It's
backyards.
gushing out of that pipe, of course, but there's so much backed up that it's at street level.
And Paul, there's an explanation for that?
Well, all I can tell, as I explained before, that pipe was in existence before the Willow Hedge plan was developed. They built the Willow Hedge plan, the pipe was never taken a look at by the developer at that time. It has been in existence since then.
And another understanding of mine is
You'll
that-
get your opportunity. Hang on. I'm going to have a couple of things to say, too.
I'm just listening.
I got a couple of questions, if I may.
You have some questions? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Paul, as I understand what you said, we're looking at $33,000 for the engineering, then to hire an engineering company that will lay out what the corrections will be. That's a different amount of money, correct?
Correct.
This is what we're looking at, is we've got money allocated for engineering. That's what we're asking for right now.
That is correct.
When will that vote happen?
Tonight.
Well, Tuesday, actually.
That's
So,
good news.
For the next meeting in December, we'll know if the money for engineering is. Monroeville will do the study. Now, is the 33 to cover Monroeville's expenses, or is that what Chester Engineers is going to be paid to do the work?
No, that's what, the money is paid to our consultants to do the analysis.
Terrific.
That's why we've been out for the last...
Understand.
Well, since the last meeting, trying to find where the conveyance system is, because we want to do all the legwork ahead of time, so when they come out, they can do a quick survey, and then we can take that information and make a hydraulic model of what is going on with the stormwater.
Now, the pipe they were discussing, we got a 12 or 14-inch pipe blowing water. There's no stonework to support it. It's just eroding a hillside and blowing water into
And
people.
in actuality, it was diverted more to our homes, and there was a little dike built, so it goes down the path and goes more towards our home. Now, to avoid a couple of other houses, so to avoid a couple of other homes, this dike was built by Monroeville to have it towards our houses now.
There's no malice.
When was that built?
Yeah, I was going to say,
There's no malice
Why did they
intent,
do that?
but you're trying to disperse water. It hasn't worked, is the
When
point.
was that built?
But, I don't know.
I'd say about 2 years ago, it wasn't really a dike. They came back with a backhoe and dug a ditch to divert it from directly my backyard past my house, and as
To follow the path.
Crystal says, it comes down It follows the path. It diverted from my house, but it did not cure any problem, and it's...
Well, let me just ask a couple of questions if I can. First off, let's go back to the meeting we had last month. Remember when Paul originally said it's going to be about a 3-month process? Actually, no. Is that fair, Paul, about a 3-month process?
Yeah.
To know what we're dealing with. Is that fair?
Once we start the process of trying to do an analysis to find out what is actually going on, it'd probably be a 3-month process, but it's still not going to fix the problem. That's just to come up with a remedy.
That is correct.
Then we're going to need money to fix the problem.
Well, that's what the capital improvement would be for.
Correct.
And, yeah, there's
Well-
DEP money and DPA money. for
There's
these.
EPA money
Watershed
to be
that's
had.
not- yeah.
You can apply for it.
So you people will know by the 12th
Terrific.
that the money passed for the engineering.
And
That's
yeah,
next
we got
Tuesday.
that. That's what you, thank you.
Yeah.
That's what-
Can I ask a question of all the stuff that they were doing? Because we were talking, my husband and I, a couple days ago. When it rains, because my yard, I have 2 manhole covers.
That's correct.
When it rains like a normal day, you can't hear water going through those pipes. But when it floods and the water comes down through the woods in an actual stream, then you can hear it. So the one that sits right by my house, is it tied into anything?
Yes.
Is
It is.
it?
Oh, absolutely. It's
And
connected.
just out of curiosity, where's it come from? Like my neighbor's yard somewhere?
It does.
The guy to the left of me with the big backyard.
That's, he keeps answering. I'm going to let him go.
Hey, Paul.
Yes, sir.
Is there a chance you can sit and talk with these people? I mean, is that?
Sure. Well, I mean, the problem is that, just to answer her, yes, it comes from your neighbor's property.
Okay.
Yes.
I guess my only question is, so, that's great that we're moving forward.
Yes.
But that pipe just remains open.
Why?
And I just don't understand why that couldn't be diverted back to the street, Paul, as the other ones are.
Well-
As all the other sewers are.
As I explained before, the one that you're speaking of is on Logan's Ferry Road. If that one, we could put a plate over top of it and asphalt it shut. But that water ultimately ends up on Willowheads Drive,
That'd be Cooper's then.
okay? And when it ends up on Willowheads Drive during heavy rain events, that means that's what's causing the conveyance system to back up because it's not big enough to hold all the water. And when that does, then the water was backing up onto Willowheads Drive near Mrs. Palino's house who got flooded. So we're taking the problem away from you and putting it on somebody else in heavy rain events. And that's why we have to do the analysis to figure out what to do with it because you have a substandard system. The substandard system was put in the 70s. This is 2013. We have to figure out what they put in because what we're finding is what was put in is not what was approved.
So
It's different diameter pipes, it's different makes of pipes, it's a different system totally.
So the builder actually violated the,
In some instances, yes. And I'll just give you one example. The system was supposed to put in with reinforced concrete pipe, which is a smooth wall pipe. It uses corrugated metal pipe. The hydraulics of that is very different.
when you have smooth pipe, the water flows.
Yes,
freely. When
absolutely.
you have the corrugated,
It slows it down. Then you have different slopes. The greater the slope on the pipe, the faster the water moves. What we have here is no slope on pipes. So that's why we have to do the analysis, because I don't want to make a knee-jerk reaction and tie pipes into other pipes, and then it doesn't work, and then you're back here again yelling at me because the system isn't working.
Well, Paul, I want to make something very clear. Nobody's yelling, and nobody
I'm
wants to
yelling.
be.
I was yelling.
All right, but.
I was yelling.
Okay, but
You were
have
yelling.
to- okay, she's upset, and.
Well, at least you admitted
And
it.
somebody you have to understand, when you have 3 feet of water, and you can't look at me like I'm just a pain in your ass. I'm sorry.
I don't
'Cause that's
think,
what I feel
I don't
like
think
sometimes.
anybody's looking at you that way, and we sympathize. I wouldn't want to be flooded, believe me.
And
I'd
there's
be
things
upset.
there's things that have happened in the field that, that we uncovered with, like, her pool sits directly over type of the storm sewer.
And I'd like to address that because when Mr. Story or Stormy, whatever his name is, was out
Story.
in my yard, because I work full-time,
Yes.
looking for this manhole
Mm-hmm.
somewhere, which he found, and then went to his truck and got a chainsaw to start cutting down my bushes. you know, a nice little, I understand you guys have every right to be back there, and I appreciate you being back there, because I know you're working on our problem. But, you know, there's this like little common courtesy thing. I'm going to cut down your big, beautiful bushes that hide your neighbors, and now you're going to see them every day.
Well, it's Crystal.
Right. I don't like her. It just would have been a nice little
I understand.
phone call.
But I mean, it's things like that where we found, you know, there's a swimming pool, your swimming pool sitting on
Well,
the top of the
when
pipe.
I had, look,
The pipe
when I had
is-
that pool put in,
Mhm.
we did the PA1 call. We did the PA1 call before we bought the pool, when we were trying to figure out where to put it.
Right.
Because we're not stupid. We know there's a storm sewer there. It goes
Let's,
somewhere.
let's not blame each other.
We're
Joey's,
not, we're not. I'm
Joe's a
just,
very
you
good
know,
employee.
He's kind of going somewhere
Or
with this
Jamie.
pipe
No, no, no,
under
no,
my
no.
pool.
No, where I'm going at it was this.
I got
It goes back to the developer, because the developer never put on your survey where the storm sewer was, where the right-of-way was, because when you come in to get your pool permit, it would have been identified at that time with your survey, but the developer never had to put on the survey.
But why didn't you guys spot that when you came out and cleared it? You said there was no facilities there.
Because we didn't know it was there either, because the developer never
Okay.
showed it.
So why can't we go, I know the guy is no longer with us. He's in another place. But his business went somewhere, right?
Yeah, but
Can't
again,
he
we're
help-
talking about a development from 1977.
See, you remember, yeah, go
Sue 'em.
ahead.
Well, what,
You can sue 'em. You have a claim. We don't.
See, that's the problem.
I didn't have, Monroeville didn't get damaged. You did. And you kept
so I
standing.
could sue the guy that built my
Sure.
house?
Sure.
Mr. Solicitor, do you remember last meeting, I asked if there was a statute of limitations on
There
that?
is. And I think the statute is run. However, he has to raise that. I mean, just because there's a statute doesn't mean they don't have a cause of action. They could still try to make the claim. He might not raise it.
Yeah, because in looking over this, and this comment I'm going to make is not helping you, but I'm going to tell you, in looking back to the records from the time in 1974 that it went before the Planning Commission and then went before then-council in 1974, the engineer identified out of all that subdivision that the lot that the 5 houses are on was to be left alone because of the flooding issues. 3 years later, council approved the reversal of that decision and to build the 5 houses. I don't know why that wasn't a responsible decision. I don't know why that 3 years was too long, that you couldn't have looked back to see that recommendation that they took in 1974, that they did not even bother to look back in 1977. The records are here, and the records are right here in front of me. And that's why I asked if there was a statute of limitation on this, because it's irresponsible development that leads to that, and it's a responsible council that has to do their homework to find that.
Well, that was.
Well, let me just say this here, and hopefully you all realize that we are moving forward. I can't imagine this not being passed, the budget transfer on Tuesday. Like you, I've been flooded as well. I do have a manhole in my backyard. When it has issues, guess who has issues? I'm the first on the line. I catch hell. Ask Public Works and ask Water Authority. I appreciate everything you're saying. I do not like that when that happens. But here's the good news. We are going to move forward. Allow Paul and his staff and whomever, it be Chester or whoever, let's get this done. Hopefully, we're not going to have any major rainstorms. God, I hope not. And by time next spring comes, we'll be working, hopefully, on it to correct it. Now, I know that doesn't help you today, but at least we're moving in the right direction. And I asked you all to come back, and then what did I tell you? And I'll be very blunt. You need to keep this council, this mayor, this administration's foot to the fire on your issue. And I'll say it again. I think you would do well to attend each of the meetings until this gets off and running. Do not let us get off on other subjects. This is your right. This is your town. This is your council. You have every right to come up and complain. But hopefully, we're moving in the right direction for you. I think we are. So give us a chance. Let our staff work. Is that a fair statement, folks? Is that fair? I mean, are you okay?
That's a fair statement.
Mayor,
Yeah.
can I ask one more thing?
Sure.
Please be advised, though, over the next few months, you're going to see additional people in and around your homes.
That's fine. Just
Okay.
if you want to cut down a
And-
bush, let me know.
Well, I
I'll
think
make them dig it up and move it.
we're done with that because we found it. We found
Yes,
we found
we
the
did find
structure, okay? But, even when I was over there with Jamie, and mind you, Jamie is the most friendly individual you're ever going to meet. I don't know what the hangup was there, okay? But he's a user-friendly individual
Well, I think, Paul, it was
and
just
and very
when-
knowledgeable.
And
Please.
I'm sure he
Okay.
is. I'm just saying, but when I was explaining to him why I'm getting flooded, and when he constantly is saying that's not why, and I'm showing him where it's wet, it's like I've been living here for 16 years. I think I know why I'm getting flooded.
And to be honest with you, since the last meeting, when we get a heavy rain event, Jamie and we have been back there. We have been putting dye into the system and to track the water to see where it's going. Because
Excellent.
I want to see where it's going too.
Okay.
So, when we do get these heavy rain events, and that's what your problem is. It's not your normal rain events like today. It didn't happen today.
No.
It's those heavy rain events. It's those spontaneous heavy rain events. There's going to be people looking around your backyards.
That's fine.
Because we need to follow the water to see where it's going. And to be honest with you, we can't make that happen. When the occurrence happens, you'll see people back there,
That's understood.
okay?
That's fine.
So, okay, for now, are you guys okay? We're moving in the right
Yes,
direction.
you are moving in the right direction.
So, you can, Buddy, you have a comment, please?
One quick comment, just thank you. I feel pretty good that we're moving in the right direction. One thing, if I might make a suggestion, is if we could get a periodic update or some sort of communication, we may feel a little better. I'm at work all day. I don't know who's there, what's
Well,
going on.
if I can suggest, maybe leave your emails with Paul, if that's the best way to call you, or maybe your mobile phone or your whatever.
Actually, if you could do an email, then we could just send out a group email to everybody.
Yeah, it doesn't have to
Okay.
be too frequently, but just that we know some progress is being made. or
Well,
this is what we're learning.
as he digs deeper into it, then maybe you'll get your update then, if that would be good with you, Paul.
Absolutely.
Is that sufficient?
Thank you.
What would we expect to hear maybe next month as to the progress?
Yeah, I would say by next month, there should be some more information, that we found out. There's some definite constraints that are happening in the neighborhood, and again, this all goes back to a developer issue, but, we're trying to work through those details.
And one other quick question about statute of limitations you were talking
You
about.
might want to address that to Mr. Dice.
I understand that statute of limitations runs out from the discovery of wrongdoing, not when the wrongdoing happened. Is that true?
That's a correct statement.
Okay. So
How long have
the
you known about
statute of limitations does not necessarily go
Well-
to 74. It goes to when
How
the
long have you known?
discovery of the problem is. Is that true?
My question is, so how long have you known?
Yesterday, the discovery that the developer did not follow the plans just happened 10 minutes ago.
Okay, well, that's going to be something that would be a way to overcome the statute.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure my understanding was correct on that. Thank you.
But sincerely, thank you, and please stay in touch with us.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Are you okay, Sharon? Okay. Ron Harvey. Got Paul and...
Ron Harvey, I'm a resident of Monroeville for 59 years and the current council-elect for the 3rd Ward. I just wanted to come up and thank my family and my wife and daughter who worked so hard during my election. I wanted to thank all my friends. There's too many to name or would be here all night. And mostly thank the residents for their vote of support. Really was going to stop there and call it a night and just wait till the swearing in happens and make an opening statement there. But since there's so many senior citizens here, and I thought that the voting's over and pretty much the politics is out of it, I guess, for the next 4 years, I wanted to express to council that I would never vote against the senior citizens. Come January, if you pass that, I would vote to turn it around.
Paul Caleri.
I'm Paul Caleri, resident of Monroeville, and I'm council-elect in January, I guess, for the Fifth Ward. I wanted to say thank you to everybody, to my family also, and to everybody that supported me. And we do need to get this thing moving back in the right direction, and I think we got a good group put together to do it. And I'm with Ron. We'll keep the senior center. It's a good move.
Jim Magaluso. El Presidente.
I'm Jim Macaluso. I'm president of Senior Council. I've lived in this town since February of 1955, and I've never seen anything like this since this last year. I was here when Jenkins was the Burgess. That's a long time ago.
Yes, sir.
I have here a petition, signatures, with over 500 people signed it. They're all against the community center. It's taken me a lot to get over here. There are so many things I got to say here, but we'll be here all night. But one thing I want to say, I was a union steward for 22 years, 249. And every year we sat down and negotiated a contract. The company never gave us a raise. We had to fight for it, go on strike or whatever. You people seem to throw our money away and give them police a raise. I have nothing against the police. We need them. But still, I just can't see without negotiating for a raise. Automatically, you give them a raise. I don't know. What these people were squawking about here, when I moved into Monroeville, or Patton Township, a lot of things were done, and nobody knew about it. So you'll probably never find out where that water's coming from.
That's comforting to know.
Don't say that, Jim.
There were a lot of things done. Oh,
A
geez.
nudge.
But I'll tell you, Lynette and you four council persons, you have had us over a barrel this whole year. And I told Lois that at one of our council meetings. We're afraid to say anything for fear that you're going to shut down the center. Herb wanted to sell our center to the county. I talked to Chuck Martoni. He says, Jim, if I ever hear of that, I'll let you know. He says, nobody has ever approached us. But I didn't tell him who told us or anything like that. But there's just, I don't know, there's just too many things for me to talk about. And I'm getting up there in age, and I forget a lot.
Nah, you're still a young guy, Jim.
No, 88. Kicking 89. Day after Christmas, I'll be 89. But I've seen Bruce at our golf outings. We broke our backs over at that senior center. And I joined the center, I guess it was around 86. And I've been there volunteering ever since. And without that senior center, I'd have probably been dead a long time ago. It saved me and my wife. And when somebody talks about that senior center, this little Sicilian is ready to growl at everybody. So please, leave us alone. We're doing good. And we got a lot of people coming to our center now. We have people coming from Irwin, Level Green, Penn Hills, Churchill. They're coming from all over the place. They're coming to our luncheons. Tara's putting on all these episodes for lunches and stuff like that. And they're all coming. Our Halloween thing. I sat there and stood in that doorway, and I seen people coming in. I don't know where the hell they came from, but they were from out of town. But they came to our Halloween party. Next week, we're going to have a soup bash, and we're going to have a whole bunch of people coming there. But I never see council. Monroeville Council is never. He lives in Monroeville. And I told him to his face one day, who brought you over here? Because you never knew where the place was. But Steve there, Jimmy Johns has been there. She was at one of our ice cream socials. Lynette came to our council meeting. Lois was our representative. Nick, he's always over there. Herb, do you know where our center is?
I've been there several times. I've been to your events.
We haven't seen you.
Okay, well.
Never. Bruce, come to our golf outings, and you're at our council meetings, and you stop in and see us anyway. And I hope with this new council that they're all behind us, and we know where we stand.
Jim, let me just let everybody know, as senior, the entire senior population that does use our center, there's two things that can happen. This council can pass and put this out as a community center. Two things can happen. A, I can veto all the taxes that support this entire budget. If I had to go that route, they can pass any budget they want. They can't do anything. They have no money. Or two, we can go into January when the new council comes in. They can overturn anything and everything this current council does. You have two safety nets. You're not going nowhere, and as long as I sit as your mayor, as the others have said, this will never happen. You're going to remain the senior center.
Thank you.
And you know, and you all know, I've quoted that in the paper. I've said that to you at your council meetings, and there's no reason why I'm going to change my mind. I'm very much in support of, and you know I'm a member there as well, so.
Yeah. Well, I told Lynette when she came to our...
And I'm only 39.
I told Lynette over my dead body, I put too many hours over there working and drumming up to get money. And I told her at the convention center 2 years ago, same story. Thank you for letting me talk.
You're quite welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, now we have gotten all the folks that signed in. Is there anybody else who would like to address council? It is certainly your time, but please come on up.
Yes, sir. I called you today. Did you happen to bring that paper that I gave to you? My name's George Stakelin.
George, you know what? I've been so busy, I
Okay,
wish I'd have got a reminder on
we're
you.
going to dry run this. My name's George Stakelin. I'm a new citizen of Monroeville. And let me tell you, this is one great town. The people here are nice. My wife and I, we love it. October 3rd, we had a real tragic incident on Monroeville Boulevard. A friend of mine was killed by a police officer in a cruiser. The issues that we have in this general area where I'm talking about in front of Northern Pike Apartments, which I'm the maintenance supervisor, we have over 300 residents just in that general area. We have a dance studio, a karate place, hairstyle, sheets. A lot of the people that live there are disabled, as am myself. I'm 50% deaf, so I am considered disabled. That's a very hard road to get across. We have a few issues with it. First off, the speed limit is 35 miles an hour, and I think no one abides by it. I say no one, I'm sure some people do, but they use that road as a raceway. It's highly dangerous. We have no lighting at night. The closest street light to Northern Pike Apartments is approximately 600 feet from the entrance to the apartments. From that point to this point, when you turn into the municipality buildings, there's no lighting. Now you can go to the top of the hill and the lighting starts to continue up to Giant Eagle. the police presence in this general area or non-presence is almost existent. And I'm there, I work 2 jobs, so I'm there all day long and I observe what's going on with the traffic going up and down the streets. And for this to happen was very tragic. I come to the council to make a few suggestions that I think that y'all could consider for us, the residents of Monroeville, for our safety and our well-being, because we don't want this to happen ever again. We would like to get better police presence in that area. If you're just sitting there, the people see the police cars, then they realize that they'll slow down automatically. I've come to find out from State Representative Joe
Marcosa.
I've talked to his office also, that Monroeville's not allowed to use radar detectors to detect the speed limits of our citizens.
I think it's a state law, isn't that state?
That is a state law.
Yeah.
So I am going to the state representatives to try to get this law changed to where we can start to get to control. In that general area, in the time that I've lived here, which is 4 months, I've seen approximately 5 wrecks and now 1 pedestrian death. And this is just in 150 yards of area right in front of our apartments. We'd like to get better police activity around there because when people see it, we'd like to get some lighting. Now, I have not had time because I do work 90 hours a week and I have not time to get a petition signed, and I'm sure that I could probably get a lot of names. But I have 1 name on it already, and his name is Mike Barnes. He signed it. I would like to get a crosswalk put in, a call crosswalk. We have 3 buses, approximately 3 buses that stop there twice a day. And we have a lot of mothers and fathers that walk their children up to this general area. We have a dance studio, we have a karate studio, we have all these other businesses. If we could get a crosswalk, a call crosswalk put in, we could eliminate a future fatality or incident and control what's going on in this general area.
Just so you know, that is a county road, and I would like if you would consider, I don't know if this will help your situation, but I can set a meeting up with one of Mr. Fitzgerald's engineering staff. I would gladly sit with you or any other person that you would like to do. You remember when we talked, I thought that was a great idea.
Sure.
And it's certainly dark in that area. As you now know,
It's awful.
on that very tragic night, when it was a very cloudy, that was an extremely dark night. So a street light or 2 in that area would probably be most helpful as well, so.
And even the dropping of the speed limit, if we could control the speed limit, maybe,
that would be.
that's just a suggestion, I don't know.
Oh, that's county, again, that would be a county issue.
I don't know how you go about this. This is new to me.
Mr. Dice just told me.
They did a study, I don't pencil who came out and did the study of Monroeville Boulevard. You might want to get a copy of that to help when you have your meeting, because every section was studied, and they gave recommendations. Pardon me?
That's already been studied, yes.
It's been studied by the state.
Okay.
So if you get a copy of it, I don't have it obviously with me, because this is the first I'm hearing about it.
Okay.
But they did every section, and they already gave recommendations. That became part of our issue with the Caruso Plan section. There was there's at least 3 that passed away there. They have 100 accidents a year. And 4 years it took to finally get turning lanes put in. But yours seems like lights and something, a crosswalk may seem, maybe a little easier, but they already studied, the state came out and studied it. So if you get a copy of that, you can see what they've already made suggestions on, and maybe that'll help facilitate anything you may need.
I tell you what I'll do, I'll make sure that we have a copy when we meet with one of Mr. Fitzgerald's staff.
That'd be fine. And since we're on the record, I do want to pull up one more thing out of my pocket, and it's called the ADA, the American Disabilities Act. And it goes on a federal, state, and local level. It makes us be legally liable to make sure that our handicapped citizens have the same legal right and access to anything that an unhandicapped person does. So we want to kind of look into this to know that we do have a legal right, as the federal government, state government, and local government is concerned, to take a look into this, because, okay, what if it was a blind man walking across the street with a cane? What if it was a guy that was deaf, or a guy with a wheelchair, or elderly person, which we have a lot in this community that are very good people, that just couldn't get across the street fast enough. So we have an obligation as elected officials and residents to really take an overall look at this and consider.
You know what, Giorgio, you're singing the right tunes, but you're at the wrong pew, if you get my drift. This is a county issue, and I'm seriously,
okay.
I'll work with you to get with the county.
Well, we just want to make sure that it's on record.
Our manager just said, Manager McKinney just said, we can do the street lighting, but any of the other issues as far as reducing the speed limit, any of the crosswalks, any of that kind of stuff, that would be, our county officials would have to deal with that. And we can certainly meet with Chuck Martoni, who's a wonderful guy.
That's fine.
I'm sure he would help us. He is the president of the county council. And I can certainly call Mr. Fitzgerald's office as well. So why don't you and I maybe get together probably Monday, Tuesday next week. Let's try. I know you're working a lot, so I'll work around your schedule.
That either way.
Let me know when it would be convenient, or if you have another spokesperson. I mean, since you do work so many hours, I'd prefer you since you do seem to have
fine.
the issues.
That's fine.
But I will certainly assist you.
I think, unfortunately, I've had the opportunity to talk to Mrs. Barnes, and it's a touchy situation. So I think that if we all work together, that we might stop something that might ease some pain for someone if we work and try to make something happen to show that we care as a community. That's just my own thought, so everybody keep that in mind.
Let's put it this way, George. Here's my card. It has my office number, my cell number, my email. Let's just you and I work with the county.
We'll work with it.
And
thank you so much for your time.
We'll certainly we'll address the issue. And again, with council, I would hope you would all consider putting a couple of lights in that area. It certainly needs it. It certainly.
Well, you all got the connections.
Go ahead. It's up to them.
You all got the connections. You all know the people.
Go ahead with your petition. I think that's a good start. You get all your residents and neighbors to sign a petition.
Well, how many-
We have to do that to get a street light put in anyway.
But see, you guys work with the chief of police, so you can say, hey, chief, man, can you have your boys go over there and hang out a little bit more and slow the cars down? Hey, when y'all are eating lunch.
But go ahead with the lighting petition.
Just gab and we'll see what we can do.
Your points are well taken, sir.
Thank you so much for your time. Y'all have a blessed evening and a nice weekend.
Excuse me, sir. Could you sign the sheet, please, could you?
Excuse me, Mayor. Mayor, is
There's
that
a pen on the side. Okay.
a question for Mayor May from Mr. Dice? Is this something that we could get on the agenda for Tuesday, since we're talking about it now as far as the streetlights? Something we could act now to get the ball rolling? The manager said we need roughly 10 signatures, but we can.
Council can even waive the petition. That's our petition, it's not Duquesne Lights petition, so you could actually waive the petition if you just want to go ahead and make a motion to approve a street light in that vicinity. We would just need a poll number.
Yeah, so let's,
Where that would be placed.
if it's the pleasure of council.
Okay with
Is
that?
everybody all right putting it on the agenda?
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
How's that? That's a
We'll act
first
on
step.
Tuesday.
Hey, step one. Oh, and I know where the beef at. It's in my freezer.
Okay, you did sign in, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, please state your name and.
My name's Linda Gatos. I've just won the election for Ward 1, and I'd like to thank all the residents and all the voters that came out. Appreciate your support. I also need to thank my husband for putting up with me for the last year while we've been doing this, and I'd like to thank my family as well. I want everyone to know that I think we've got a great team put together. I think things are going to really dramatically change for the residents. I'm looking forward to all the challenges. And as far as the seniors, first of all, I need to say happy birthday to my grandfather. He'll be 94 tomorrow, so I have a very soft spot in my heart for the seniors. And so believe me, I would stand for you, with you. Yeah, when you have a grandfather that's age, you're very blessed, and I feel very blessed. So happy birthday, Pap, and thank you, everyone.
Come on up, you have to come up to the mic, Jim. State your name again.
Jim Macaluso from the Senior Center. On that petition, I hope it doesn't get lost.
It will not get lost, Jim.
Because
And you know I signed it with you,
there's been a lot of
so
stuff that's
it's not
got
getting
lost, too.
And you know, Linda, I'm going to try to steal a little bit of, or put a little bit of more thunder with you. Talking about birthdays, my dad just turned 98 this past August. So yes, we certainly are with you, so. Any rate, though, are you okay still, Sharon?
If I could just have 5 minutes?
Yes, we're going to take.
Anybody else?
Senior citizen, or is this over? Is public comment over?
No, we still have some more folks, but she would like a 5-minute break. So, folks, I'm sorry, we're going to take a 5-minute break. Her fingers are falling off, so.
Really, we're gonna do it like.
We're now back in session. Thank you for your patience. And we're still on our Citizens Night, and I'll open it back up. So anybody, come on up.
Thank you, Mayor. I signed in during the recess. My name's Michelle Wisniewski. I'm on Logan's Ferry, and I say that because part of my issue is the flood. My home has a history of flooding. I'm down in a low spot, actually, between Revere and Skyview. Mr. Hugus knows my history, but I sympathize with all the Willow Edge people. I'm always watching the weather and fearful of it. Not only has it been a financial burden, but it's an emotional one now. But Jamie Story has listened repeatedly to me, and I am appreciative of the time that he has spent with me and the things that he has tried to do, particularly when our road was resurfaced a few years ago. So one of the reasons I wanted to speak just briefly was a comment that Mr. Hugus had made at the October meeting. He used the word global. And I appreciated that because it is a global issue. What happens up there is not necessarily all coming down to me. I realize that. But it is an issue that extends from there through my spot and the homes adjacent to me and then down into Pineview and Woodhaven. So I know that it's being looked into. It's a comforting feeling for me. I know it's not an easy solution. Public Works helped me back in '07, and Steve, I was very appreciative then, and they helped me back in September. In '07, I took 4 feet. This past September, I took a foot. And so you clean up and you move on. You do what you have to do as a resident. You do all the things that the experts suggest that you do, and I've done that as a resident. And so now I look to you, and I will certainly look forward to hearing, I guess, the progress of this, and would welcome the opportunity to speak again, to listen to things that have, and solutions that are possibilities. So thank you to everyone who has addressed the issue for me in the past, and again, I look forward to more things in the future. So thank you.
You are quite welcome. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to open it up for anybody else who would like to address council. Please sign in if you have not, and state your name and that you live in Monroeville.
Beth Fishman, I'm a resident of Monroeville. The first part of my question is actually for Mr. Dice. Does the arbitrator's award have the binding authority of a court order?
Yes. In fact, it goes beyond that to the extent that it's not appealable.
I understand that, but the award does say that the municipality shall immediately restake hold to the position of assistant chief.
Right.
Must be
Correct.
done.
Right.
It has not been done, correct?
Well,
Yes or no?
yes, it has, by virtue of the order. What you're failing to realize is that there are 2 other cases that the arbitrator does not have jurisdiction to hear, and they are not before him. That's why there's an arbitrator selected, William Miller, for January 24th to deal with the discharge case and the other matters.
So are you saying that he cannot be appointed assistant chief until those other matters are clear?
No, I'm saying to you that I'm sure that Mr. Tallarico would be saying that Mr. Cole is entitled to assistant chief's salary from the date he was demoted to sergeant to the date of his award. And if he's successful on his challenge to a discharge, then he would probably get additional monies at the rate of assistant chief.
Aside from the financial part of this, though, doesn't this actually give him his job back or no?
No, it doesn't. He didn't. The arbitrator did not have the matter of discharge before him. If you remember, the motion came first. An arbitrator was selected. We went through the process. And during the arbitration process, he was then discharged, which followed another grievance and now another arbitration on the matter of discharge, not on the matter of promotion or demotion.
But until that's resolved, he can't act as a member of the Monroeville Police Force?
That's correct.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
And so, you know, this isn't just my opinion. Mr. Cole has an attorney, and, you know, Mr. Lightman, or not Mr. Lightman, Eric Stoltenberg. Yeah, it wasn't Colarusso, it was Eric Stoltenberg, who represents the union, was and did participate in the selection of the second arbitrator for the discharge matter, which is set for January 24th.
Thank you.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'll open it up the floor to address council. This is certainly your opportunity to address any issue before us. Seeing none, we're going to move over now to...
Mr. Mayor, we've had several residents over the past several months ask about the HHS ruling and when that was coming. I know Mrs. Fishman's been up every month asking about that. We have not received anything from HHS, but I wanted to make the public aware that today we received a letter from the Attorney General's office in regards to a ruling, and I would like to read that letter into the citizens' minutes so everyone can hear it firsthand, as we promised as soon as we would know anything.
Sure.
The Pennsylvania Criminal History Record Information Act, CRIA, which became effective on January 1980, applies to any person or agency of the Commonwealth and its political subdivisions that collects, maintains, disseminates, or receives criminal history record information. CRIA not only sets forth procedures for reporting arrests, for fingerprinting, and for relying finally dispositions and expungement information, but it also establishes guidelines for the collection and dissemination of intelligence, investigation, and treatment information, which is specifically earmarked under the statute as protected information. The Office of Attorney General, OAG, is tasked with auditing compliance with CRIA's provisions, investigating suspected violations of the statute, and imposing sanctions where provisions of the statutes or rules and regulations thereunder have been violated. I am writing to advise you that an audit of Monroeville, Allegheny County Police Department, MPD, by my office has determined that CRIA was violated on numerous occasions when unauthorized individuals, including members of the Monroeville Volunteer Fire Department and private citizens, were able to access records maintained by the Monroeville 911 Center. These violations occurred in the wake of actions taken to update the emergency management dispatch system. At the time the updated became operational, it complied with CRIA, and the ability to access protected information was appropriately restricted by CRIA's requirements. However, things subsequently changed due in significant part by the use of generic usernames and passwords as opposed to usernames and passwords which uniquely identify a person's access to the system, something that allowed individuals improperly to access information without being identified. Anyone posing the generic password was able to view ordinarily inaccessible protected information, including records of police calls, which often contain sensitive information, dissemination of which might cause harm to members of both law enforcement and the public. Certain members of the MFFD, Monroeville Fire Department, provided the generic usernames and passwords to members of the general public. In the course of our review, we found that Monroeville 911 Center records were accessible to unauthorized individuals from August 9th, 2010, the date of the initial activation, until February 7th, 2013, the date on which MFFD access to the system was terminated. There was, we determined, unauthorized access to emergency medical services, paging, and to CAD records regarding police calls. Our investigation into this matter Mr. Mayor, are you?
I have the letter.
Okay. Our investigation into this matter also found that in at least one specific incident-related instance, official MPD records were tampered with, altered, removed, or destroyed, although it did not establish the responsible party. Information we gathered showed that, apart from the requirements of CREA, the conduct involved here also violated provisions of the Monroeville Employee Handbook, which applies to all employees, and the MPD. We must note, too, that in addition to our review of this matter, there were also 2 local investigations, one a security audit of the EMD, and another conducted by an independent law firm at the behest of the U.S. Department of Health, which focused on improper accessing of records containing protected information. Various individuals who were subsequently found to have improperly accessed such records were subject to discipline and were terminated from their public employment. As indicated previously, my office is authorized to impose administrative sanctions or to seek court-imposed penalties for violations of CREA. After careful review, we have concluded that in this instance, the violation will be dealt with administratively. We have to come to this conclusion for several reasons. This is the first instance of violation of the Act, and the Monroeville Police Department's management fully cooperated with all audits and demonstrated concern about eliminating problems that caused this violation. MPD management also proceeded to take suitable action to accomplish this and to deal appropriately with those individuals who were determined to have engaged in improper conduct. However, we must caution that should conduct of this sort recur, or should policies that lead to this violation be reinstituted in the future, we will pursue the more stringent civil and criminal sanctions available. And that's signed by Larry Cherba, Executive Deputy Attorney General for the Criminal Law Division of the Attorney General's Office.
No, grab a seat there. I'm going to address a couple issues. Number one, as you all know, I'm the one that called the Attorney General last week because Mr. Dice was not going to be here and requested that he meet with us today. He granted that request. Obviously, some of us, council, as well as myself, would not be able to make the 6 o'clock meeting. On Tuesday, Mr. Cherba called me on my cell phone. He told me point blank he was going to send myself a letter, which he did, the manager and the solicitor. He did not want to come to Monroeville at this time because of the political mess in Monroeville. And just to be very frank, none of this information should have been released to the public yet, and I'm going to tell you why. It's still under investigation. It's still not complete. There'll be more coming out, I assure you, in the next couple of months. This was going to be used as a political football, and that's what I see tonight. It was released. When that call went out, when I talked to Deputy Attorney General Cherba on Wednesday, it wasn't even 12 hours later, I got calls from the media on about the attorney, why is the Attorney General coming here? This letter came out. Once it hit here, I got calls again, almost immediately when they knew the letter was coming. Again, I don't know who released it. I have my thoughts on it. But again, this is, an investigation that is not done with HHS, certainly not done with the CREA stuff.
You're correct, Mayor. It's not done with HHS.
I am not done talking.
Okay, well, this is complete. This is their.
That is correct. But
So
the
you're
investigation is still not done.
With the.
Can I ask a
HHS.
question, Mayor?
The Attorney General's office?
Oh, no, it is done with them. They're going to administer. That is
Mayor,
correct.
can I ask a question?
Sure.
Who found these individuals to be guilty? Cherba? or was it internal?
You know what, we shouldn't really be talking about this. Let's let the investigation wrap up.
I mean, was it an internal investigation from our department that found these individuals?
I don't know that, Steve. I can't answer that. That I don't know. But again, I think...
Lynette, would you know?
I don't know, the mayor talked to the Attorney General, I did not. I just received a phone call that they wanted to meet on October 30th, they asked for dates, we provided them dates, then the mayor canceled the meeting, moved it to tonight.
So what
And I've
what
got
I
a
read
voicemail
into it
message
is
that
that
the meeting
they're
wasn't gonna occur.
they're satisfied with the outcome of our internal investigation.
Correct, and that's why.
With the corrections that were made.
Then these
Corrections,
individuals
Considering
were-
that we stopped the system, we did not allow it to continue, the fact that we
I guess my point is, this could have been
reprimanded the
politically
employees that were
motivated
taking
or
place in the
found.
action is why we did not receive sanctions in this municipality.
Well, again, there's more information that has not been looked at, and I'm just going to leave it that generically.
Now, this is not HHS's role.
No, I
This is
understand.
the Attorney General's.
Lynette, I am very well aware.
Beth Fishman, Monroeville. It has been set up here before by the former IT person that Chief Pascarella is the one responsible for those passwords. I know you can't comment because it's a personnel matter, but I hope the proper discipline is taken against him if he's found.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, I would ask that everybody please let the investigation wrap up with HHS.
Do you know, Lynette, do you know?
No, this is in
if they-
reference
can I
to
just
the
ask, like,
district attorney.
Yeah, did they
Oh,
do
that's a-
their,
Attorney General.
did they do their own investigation, or are they based, I think that's what Steve was asking, did they do their own, or are they basing it on ours?
They did their own investigation.
Their people, not
Correct.
based on anything that we've done before through any
Correct.
other
This was their
investigations.
own.
Well, that's not the
investigation.
statements. The statements are they're satisfied with our investigation.
They're satisfied with the outcome of what we produced here over the last 10 months to stop the issue.
And again, there's more to that that will come out.
It says I'm.
You're not getting my
Not on
point.
the- we
The
got you.
disciplinary actions that were taken were from us, not through,
Yeah. They did it, they said they did an audit. So they did an audit.
You know what, again, I'm going to caution council to please, let's let this thing wrap up. And Steve, and I'm not saying that you don't have a right to know that. I think maybe what you want to do is talk privately with Bruce and, you know, maybe get your answers that way, or Lynette, or both. I really don't want to put us in any jeopardy with HHS. That's the last thing we need. Certainly don't want to upset the Attorney General's office. I think what the letter said, there were violations. That came out publicly in some of these meetings, that we knew that. But the good news is it was corrected. They accepted that, the Attorney General's office. The real big issue is HHS has to wrap this up. That could be tomorrow, it could be 3 months from now. They're the federal government. They move at their own discretion, and you all know that. So, please, I would caution everybody, let the system work. As I stated to you, unless we're court-ordered, I would release it. As your mayor, I think you have a right to know everything that goes on in this town. But again, if we are court-ordered, we can't do that. I will explain that to you. You may not like that answer, but if that's the way it is, that's the way it is. But in my world, I think you should have a right to know everything that goes on.
Are you referring to the HHS?
Yes. But again, so like I said, is there anybody else would like to address council? Before I close this portion of the meeting. All right, we're going to close the portion of the Citizens Night meeting. We'll move over to the public budget meeting. And Lynette, if you would.
I don't have anything, if there's any residents.
Okay,
It's time for the resident.
Okay.
Is there
well,
any resident who wants to speak?
Any residents who would like to speak on the budget? I certainly know about our senior center, that's for sure. This is your time. I mean, you know, it is online, correct? Hopefully, you know, there'll be more budget meetings coming. I'm not sure if we have one more public budget meeting?
Yes.
Yeah. If you have not had a chance to review that, I would ask that please,
Mayor.
take a look at the budget
Mayor,
online.
Isn't this
Yes.
the second public budget, this is the
This is
public
the
hearing, and there's
second.
2 more workshops. Is that correct? I'm just going to clarify, I don't know which one you were asking. This was the last public hearing, there's 2 more workshops.
You satisfied the
We
public
satisfied
requirement.
the
Right,
criminal
right.
charter requirement.
Right, right. But I
hearings
would
are
still
on-
think that if you have
It's the last
questions.
hearing.
I still have to get up and ask questions.
Well, sure, but I'm
Yeah.
just
Work
saying
session, you're on the
statutorily.
2 work
prescribed.
sessions. hearings.
Yeah, we do have another work session coming up, and again, I would encourage you to take a look.
Let me just, okay, so there is no public comment tonight, so
That
you've
is correct.
satisfied the statutory requirement of public hearings pursuant to the Home Rule Charter and pursuant to the Borough Code. So that's done now. Like Ms. Allison said, and I think Lynette is supporting, there are some workshops that'll still take place where residents will be offered another opportunity.
It's the 21st, correct?
November 14th.
The 14th and the
November
21st.
Yeah, November 14th and 21st, there's 2 other workshops, and I would encourage you to get online. And if you don't have a computer at home, you certainly can go, if you're our senior, to our senior center or to our library, and look there. And if you have any questions, you can certainly call any of us as well prior to. But I would encourage you to please come.
Mr. Mayor, question for Lynette. Do you have, on the 14th and 21st, do you have the departments that we are going to be
No, I
reviewing?
don't. I'm juggling some vacations due to hunting season and a few things, so as soon as I get that, I'll be sending that to you.
Could you have it by Tuesday's meeting?
I should have.
That'd be great. That way the public knows what's being presented on the different dates. Okay, great.
Okay, we're going to close the public budget meeting, and we'll move over to our work session. And all members are here. And council, if you'll take a please look at the council meeting of September 10th, 2013, Citizens Night meeting of October 3rd, 2013. Any corrections or additions? The other 2, the council meeting of October 8th and the budget meeting of October 30th, hopefully will be in your packets next week for your review. So any on the council meeting of the 10th or the Citizens Night meeting of the 3rd? Seeing none, we'll move over to our tax collections. Any comments, issues with our reports of our tax collection? Moving over to payroll report, any questions or comments on our payroll report? Seeing none, move over to our list of bills. Vern, we'll start off with you, sir.
No questions, Your Honor.
Nick?
One question this evening, Mayor. Page 19, list of bills. About a third of the way down, $278 from Dick's Sporting Goods. It's, not sure which department I have the list from.
Looking at page 19?
Page 19.
Anson Harbor.
Yeah, page 19, Dick's Sporting Goods.
I don't see that, wait a minute.
I see Home Depot.
Are you on the general ledger?
I'm in the GL, sorry.
General ledger, huh?
Oh, you're on GL.
Sorry,
Okay,
GL
okay.
list, I apologize. General ledger, page 19.
Whatever.
Dick's Sporting Goods, $278. It's micro cameras.
I don't care.
I don't know, Nick, I'd have to look into it.
Okay.
What are they, micro cameras?
Yeah, it has a slash on the list of bills, Blade, 5 lights, micro cameras.
30, I think, is going to be.
Police, that's the Police Detective Division.
Okay, I'll check into it.
Okay.
Anything else, Nick?
That's all for tonight.
Okay, Lois?
Yes, Mayor. On page 10, list of bills, see if I can get this. It actually is a, just a question, it was the Auditor General, $31,000 amount of an overpayment of state aid, and I wondered what, for what state service?
I believe it's for the pension, but I will check with Susan Worksman.
Okay, so you check with Susan, possibly pension?
I'll let you know on
Okay,
Tuesday.
okay. Page 20 is the next, and it's only because there were so many of them, I wondered, Houston Star Company, I'm not sure what they do, but they have a lot of different real estate tax refunds. There's like 13 of them in a row. So I didn't know they were, where they were located, and what that might be over, what type of real estate
Two
tax.
Stars a development down off of Haymaker, or Ramsey, Ramsey Road. It could be reassessments, adjustments, but I will check on that.
And let's see, page 29. I think it was a local government academy, and it shows 2 courses, which I'm always grateful to see local government academy because they have a newly elected officials course, and I hope everybody has taken the pledge that if they're going to sit up here as a newly elected official, we do have something in the budget for the newly elected officials course, and it's well worth attending. But in this case, I see 2 courses were taken, and I'm just wondering, was that any official or?
That was from my group.
And Mark Shufo?
I think it was a couple different people that went to these.
Timmy
On the
Davis,
code
Mark
enforcement.
Okay. That's all I had.
Thank you. Jim?
Nothing, sir.
Diane?
Nothing.
Steve?
I have nothing, thank you.
Clarence? And we'll move over to our budget transfers. Clarence? Steve?
Nothing.
Diane? Jim?
Nothing, sir.
No questions.
No questions?
Brian?
No questions.
Wow, that was good. All righty, we'll move over to new business, and Lynette, if you would.
Actually, it will.
We'll turn it over to you, Paul, because I'm
Yeah.
not even sure how to begin to say that name.
All right, the first and only application is 13-3-SUB of Khalid Khilji / Dr. Momin Haq of the Ridgeview Estates. Applicant is requesting final subdivision approval for the consolidation of parcel 741F23. That is Lot 55 and containing .2065 acres, and parcel 741F26, which is Lot 56, containing .2485 acres, creating a new lot of .445 acres. The lots are located at the intersection of Mallard Drive and Jefferson Court in the Ridgeview Estates in the R2 Single Family Residential Zoning District. The Planning Commission recommends approval with conditions. On the drawing, you can see them outlined in blue. Probably the easiest explanation I can give to you is when it was originally laid out, the lots were kind of small. So in order to fit the home that they want and orient it the way they want it, they have to consolidate the lots together.
Oh, I know.
Everything is in order.
Any questions for Paul, folks? Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
Mr. Dice?
Yes, there's 3 ordinances. An ordinance establishing cell phone policy and monthly stipend for municipal employees.
Questions or comments? I think we did discuss that. Go ahead, you
Yeah,
want to say
Councilman
something?
Griesok had asked me to prepare a chart of who actually had phones, so I wanted just to pass that out to council. After doing a little more careful analysis, we actually have employees that were using their own phones that, it spells it all out on the graph in the chart, so.
And this was tabled last month, correct?
That is correct.
So I'm sorry, the current that you have listed there?
That is current, that is what's being paid out of the municipal general ledger for our Verizon bill and any contract stipend that's granted. Then the next column is using your own phone. We have employees that actually do use their own phone or use a municipal phone. The next column is if the stipend plan would be enacted, who would actually get the stipend payments. If it was eliminated from what we currently have to the stipend plan, there is an explanation of why it was eliminated. And then I believe you asked to clarify desk positions. So I clarified desk positions of people who were not under contract.
Does that help you out there, Nick?
Yeah, so when they use their own phone, they have their own cell phone.
We don't
but-
pay for it, and we don't pay them for it.
But we just take the monthly bill from them.
No, we don't do anything. They eat the cost themselves as an employee. They do not want to carry 2 phones. So they've turned their municipal phone in, where we'll say, we'll use officers or, the supervisor, officers as an example. Some of them choose not to have two phones, so they've turned their municipal phone in, and they're just using their private phone and eating the cost of that. So that's where you would see the difference.
Okay, so like, you're the first name up top, so currently it's $100.
Right, I have a stipend under my contract. I use my own personal phone.
Okay, so you already have a stipend already because the
it's my
managerial contract, okay. Okay, thank you.
And someone as high as our chief of police currently has no stipend and he uses his own phone.
That is correct. You'll find that probably the most
mean, it makes-
obvious people that should have phones don't. and the
That's
ones-
his prerogative, though, correct?
Well, it was never given to him, so no, he doesn't.
So you're saying the chief of police never had a phone given to them through the municipality?
Chief
of Monroe?
Pascarella, no, he does not have a municipal phone, nor does he get a stipend.
The other chiefs have?
I believe so, yes.
Why didn't he opt to have a municipal phone?
I do not know.
It's something you
Well,
might want
it's
to ask
probably
the chief.
similar to, if we've, I think,
The policy
she
that
already,
we-
I think it
she
should
already
be
explained that
mandatory.
there were a number of people that don't want to carry two phones, and
Right, and the same, when I talked with the school district, the same situation was occurring there. That's why they went to the stipend program. They've been on the stipend program now for approximately a year and a half, 2 years, and it's working fine for them.
I have a question for Mr. Dice, actually, regarding this. If the right to know law, which we certainly get a lot of right to know requests, if these employees were to accept a stipend and use their own phone, would their records, their personal phone records be discoverable under the right to know law if we're paying for it?
So you know, under the right to know law, everything that you touch with this municipality is presumed to be discoverable under the right to know. So it's pro right to know, not anti. And if you're paying a stipend to an employee for the use of his cell phone to text, it's conceivable that a good argument could be made that that text message, if it could be reproduced, would be subject to the right to know. Now, that wouldn't be true for the police if it's involved in a police matter, because there's exceptions to the right to know. One of them is investigations in that, criminal activity. But let's say Paul texting to the group out here that came tonight, and he was paid a stipend, I believe it would be arguable that that text would be discoverable under the right to know law.
Okay. And that just to be clear to the employees that are on the list that potentially, there may be something for them to consider if they're choosing to take the stipend or not, so.
So, to do this, you're talking like a $200 savings to the municipality, correct?
$200 a month, yeah.
I don't understand, some of these have higher dollar values, and
Because
What-
for
what are
some
those-
reason, some of our employees have text messaging on their phones, and some of them don't. And I don't know what the rhyme or reason is of why they do and why they do not.
and so the ones that are higher have text messaging, or they do not have text messaging, and they're using text messaging that we then pay
Correct.
for.
That is correct.
Do you know if email's on there?
Email comes with the data package, and none of our plans
Okay.
have data packages.
So it would be text,
Yeah, I
that would
don't
be
do
enough.
that either.
So, just to re-ask this question, there's somebody here that has the $60.52. Are they actually paying, do we pay for a text package? Or it seems like that we're actually paying for text messaging on a per text basis, which is a terrible way to do it.
There are maybe one or two members that have text messaging on their phone, and then the other ones do not. So if they do use texting, we are paying for it by text.
And you're sure of that? Because I know some
certainly looks like it's-
individuals that accept texting, and I don't see their bill any higher.
Pretty sure.
There's some that aren't consistent.
Yeah.
I would maybe suggest that, I don't want to be a stick in the mud here, but you might want to, table this again and do a little more homework so it's a little more clear. Sounds like we're not sure what we're spending.
I don't think that we're going to be saving our $159 a month.
Doesn't sound like it.
Why not?
I mean, if you're paying for text messages or stuff like that that's not
But
a
you
part
would
of
be
the
paying them a
plan.
stipend of $30 a month, which includes everything on their phone. We're just giving them a stipend.
I'm just
So we're
trying-
now going to be $940 a month paying employees a stipend to use their own phone. If they want to text 500 texts and be charged $90, we are still paying them $30 a month to use their phone.
Well, that was explained better than that.
I don't understand how one individual could be $60.52 and the rest at $30. And I know for a fact that a lot of these individuals can receive and send texting.
Well, a lot of them use their own
I
personal phone
believe that
for
this
texting.
one that's at 6052 has the internet.
It's possible, I can check into that.
Well, that's something we should check into, these ones that are higher, and then I'm not going to see your savings.
I believe there's only one that's, what, 6052?
That is correct.
That's right.
Yeah, and the rest are all $30.
Yeah,
So
and we have a few at 43, and those are people that have texting on their plans.
I believe the other
You'll
individuals
notice
have
that people
texting
that do have
also.
texting are also desk position people, so
I see two individuals
There's at
that are
least-
above $30.66.
There's at least one manager on there that I
You're proposing
personally text that
$30.
is at 3066, so I'm not sure. Maybe those people don't have the texting on their phone and we're paying per
I just don't see
unit?
the logic in this, and as far as, then you're going to, everybody has to turn in their, there's going to be a lot of paperwork involved.
why?
I just don't see the savings here. I really don't. But, okay, go ahead.
Any other questions or comments on this ordinance, councilors?
I don't know.
There's certainly savings,
We're
it's
gonna
just,
do, yeah, but even some of the ideas you have with radio access, regardless of what happens, I think that's maybe a good idea to implement regardless on what happens with this, because some people, you can put the radios in the cars. I think that's a good idea anyhow. Take some of the ideas from this, regardless of how that goes.
Any other questions or comments, council? Mr. Dice?
Okay, the next ordinance is an ordinance to provide for an amendment to the 2011-2013 capital improvement budget.
Lynette, if you'll give a Reader Digest version.
Yes, we talked about Old Ramsey Road last month and Willow Hedge this evening. This is just a reallocation of capital improvement money that was left over in the various Taylor Street, Scrub Seal, Glenwood, Storm Sewer accounts that are now being transferred to allocation for those projects.
Old Ramsey and Willow Hedge, right.
Old Ramsey and.
Questions or comments, council? Mr. Dice?
Yes, the
number
next-
three is basically the same thing?
What's that?
Number three is the same thing?
Pretty much.
I have a question. We're talking around roughly $61,000. How do we get that engineering? Is that an estimate through the engineer? I guess
Yes.
Paul could answer that.
Myself and Sean Rosen still worked on estimates for both of these projects.
So you'll go out to a project like
Yes.
Ramsey and it'll be an estimate.
Right.
Now, if it comes above that, and do we have any figures on what has been spent there currently to date
Yes.
on the Ramsey?
Yes.
So we're looking at 61,000 plus whatever's
Plus will be
been.
done already, that's correct.
Before the shovel even goes in the ground.
Correct.
You know, that's, wow. It's amazing.
Ramsey's about 31.
Old Ramsey total was 60,000.
Well, I have 61,000, but plus what's been spent to date, correct?
Correct.
I have 41,176
41,000.
for Old
I'm
Ramsey
sorry.
and
If you-
32,000 for.
If you look at both ordinances, the
No,
total was
both
60,000.
ordinances.
Oh, now you're doing storm sewer.
$61,000.
If you look
You're
at the
right.
ordinance number 3, we're also taking money from the 2008, 2010.
Separate
Then
ordinance.
you have 32,509 for the Willow Hedge project,
Correct,
and that's an estimate.
correct.
It could come above that
Or below it.
I guess my question is, okay, I didn't know if engineering, or if your department presented that, or the engineer.
Yes, myself and Sean Rosen still come up with these numbers.
And Rosensteel's with Chester.
And Rosenstill's with Chester, that's correct.
And there is a figure to date of what has been spent
Yes.
on engineering, because I know there's,
I
they've
can
been there.
email it to you tomorrow.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Any other questions or comments on these? We'll say both 2 and 3. We good? We good? All righty. And we'll move over to reports of our officials. And Bruce,
I have nothing.
very good. Lynette, I see you have an issue.
Yes, we have council permission to place a streetlight at Burt Drive at pool number 122129. And then, of course, I'll be adding the council permission to place a streetlight at Monroeville Boulevard
Right.
down by the intersection from our Citizens Night this evening.
Any questions or comments on that item? Anything else, Lynette?
No, that's all this evening.
Very good. And Paul, I know we already talked about it, but do you want to say anything further on the Willow Hedge issue?
No, I'm pretty much done with that.
Very good, sir. Well, I have to give you your 5 minutes of fame, sir.
Already had that.
All righty. Clarence, we'll move it over to you. We're good. Steve?
Council comments?
Uh,
I'd just
yes.
like to thank the residents who came out to vote on Tuesday, and congratulations to the new council-elect.
Diane?
Yeah, I want to give an update from the CBB for the Monroeville Convention Center, starting today through the 10th. They're having designer days. I'm sure you've probably seen a lot of publicity for that. Tonight, which everyone probably kind of already missed already, was till 7 o'clock. Preview sales tomorrow, 11 to 8, which is $20. Public sale on Saturday is free, and it's for 11 to 9. And half-price sale on Sunday is also free. Greenberg's Train and Toy Show will be back. They're very consistently come back to the convention center, the 9th and 10th. Adults are 8, children under 12 are free with a paying adult. And the one-time admission is good for both days. Pittsburgh Arts and Crafts Holiday Spectacular is November 22nd through 24th. And the Showmasters Gun Show is back once again on November 30th. It's $9 for adults, and children 12 and under are free. I also want to remind everybody that we are having our, as discussed last month, we're going to have a different refuse collection days. Please check the Times Express for the next 8 weeks so you can see if your day has been changed. They go into effect January 6th, and then also be in your water bill. And also, for a long-awaited project, I'm glad to be able to say that the Caruso Plan intersection with the turning lanes, the county advertised for that as of today. They will have a pre-bid on November 21st, and they will open the bids on December 11th. This has been a very difficult project, to say the least. I looked to Paul for that through many snafus through this, but finally it is put to bid today. You should see groundbreaking for 2014 to put the very much needed turning lanes in near Monroeville Boulevard and Caruso Plan for the residents and the businesses there. That's all I have. Thank you.
Jim?
Yes, Mayor, I have a couple of things. Joe, could you put that up on a screen for me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I was at the Human Needs and Advisory Board last month, and we're putting this up on a screen for you folks at home. They're seeking out some from Monroeville residents and organizations about issues and challenges facing you and your organizations in the community. If you have anything that you'd like to share, you can email the Human Resources Advisory Board at hnrb@monroeville.pa.us, or you can call Tara at 412-856-7825, and/or else you can get a hold of myself. Thank you for that. I appreciate that, Joe. And then one other thing, quickly. Bear with me. I'd like to thank everybody that came out to the polls. Turnout was a little bit better than what I thought it was going to be. And you guys worked hard in Monroeville to get a lot of things accomplished, and I really appreciate it as a councilman. And I'd like to congratulate our mayor. I'd like to congratulate Mrs. Gatis, Mr. Harvey, Mr. Clary, and Mr. Wilson. I look forward to working with all of you guys. As a representative of the Fourth Ward, I'm committed to work with you guys and get Monroeville headed in the right direction. Based on your input, we will collectively work to right some of the wrongs. It's going to take a while, but we'll get it done. That have been made over the past 2 years and make this Monroeville community the place that it should be. Lastly, it's kind of nice if anybody's been watching television lately. There's always bad stuff in Monroeville. It's been kind of nice. There was something on there recently about the new Monroeville Theater. Something nice to see for a change. I had the fortunate to get down there last night for the grand opening. If you get a chance, go down. I can tell you it's a first-class theater. I enjoyed it. And I think Monroeville's lucky to have the theater. With that, I'm done.
Very good, thank you, Jim. Lois?
Yes, Mayor. And I was there last night as well, and the theater looks great. I think that they will probably have only one more thing that I can think that would be wonderful for the Monroeville Mall, and that is to bring back the ice skating rink. And I think that that appeals to everybody. We have they could say what they want about demographics in malls, but I was at several malls, and I know that they all have their changes that they're going through. And I just happen to think that Monroeville's mall has, yes, a lot of those stores are geared to that demographic that, they have disposable money and they're the younger set. But, they could also have a lot of family-oriented things. And I wish I knew, and maybe perhaps I will do this. Maybe I'll just do this as a citizen next year and looking into that. Because I think the infrastructure is there. I don't think they were that poor and when they put in the food courts, not, just taking out all the infrastructure for the ice skating rink. So I think that that's a great idea, and I hear a lot of people agree, so. But that was a great, I'm not going to ask you which movie you saw, Jim, but
I'll tell you, I saw Gravity.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, I was disappointed for anybody that wants to go see it.
Well,
I shouldn't have said that.
The new critic here.
I love Sandra Bullock, but it didn't, the beginning was great, but I'm going to leave it alone after that.
and I'm not going to be too embarrassed, but I'm going to say it anyway. I saw Bad Grandpa. Hilarious, but then, of course, you have to have, that type of hilarity within you that you would laugh at that type of humor. But yes, it was hilarious. Okay, just a couple of things to mention about the Senior Center. The November-December newsletter has just come out, and so 2 calendar full of events for the Senior Center. I actually had asked Tara Grisak if she could prompt me, because I had to work late today. I couldn't go to the Senior Council meeting today, but I understand that the Soup Day, which is next Tuesday, is already sold out. And so you can't get any tickets for it. They're over 200, at least they were when I read her message here. Had to stop selling tickets at 200, our biggest registration to date, but, they're excited, and no seats left in the room. And that's how it is at these special events. I should mention also that the Holiday Pancake Breakfast is coming up. The registration will be over by December council meeting, so I'm going to mention it tonight and Tuesday. But the Holiday Pancake Breakfast is Tuesday, December 10th at 9 a.m. Join us as we begin at the Senior Center celebrating the holidays. Start the morning off with a scrumptious meal, followed by the sounds of the Monroeville Chorus and Course Bingo. The MSC, the Monroeville Senior Center, would like to welcome your families. This is a great opportunity for you to show them where you spend your days. Guests of any age are welcome. And then, of course, Santa will also be here to wish everybody a happy holiday. He may even allow you to sit on his lap and take your picture with him. The menu is pancakes, sausage, links, fresh fruit, orange juice, coffee, and hot tea. So if you didn't get in on the package to the Soup Day, please think about the upcoming holiday breakfast. I will have some comments to make about the Senior Center. I've been looking back at some of the information that they provided us in October of 2011. I happened to be at my 40th high school reunion, so I was only here by phone that night, but I saw and held on to a lot of information that I did my homework on, and I compiled some things. I wanted to point them out, but I think that I'll wait for Tuesday to do that. And that's all.
Thank you. Nick?
I, too, would like to thank the residents for coming out and voting on Tuesday. It's certainly the ultimate place for your voices to be heard, and would encourage residents to not stop there, to continue to your voices heard at these meetings, contact your representatives that are elected to represent you, this current council, and furthermore into the new council in January. Congratulations to the new council-elect, congratulations to the mayor, and also a tip of the hat to the ones who fell a little short. Certainly, it takes a lot of work to campaign for this, and also to decide to actually give something back to the community. And of course, I failed to mention congratulations to the tax collector who motioned, that he certainly was victorious as well.
Yeah, he's too happy taking your money.
Right.
I forgot him also.
But once again, congratulations to the victors, tip of the hat to all those who ran and dedicated to try to put some time into the community. Monroeville's a great place, and hopefully we can, as many mentioned, can get it back to where it should be. That's all I have for this evening.
Thank you.
The only thing I'd like to say is on Monday, as many people take off for Veterans Day, that you take some time, say a prayer for veterans, say thank you to veterans, police, firemen, for the work that they do, and say a prayer for them and their families. That's it.
And I just have a few comments, and I hope you all bear with me. First off, I thank you for the reminder on our Veterans' Monday. As you all know, that's something I hold very dearly, and I hope you all do as well. Because of their sacrifices, we can actually stand up here and argue with each other, and it's okay. So, and that's just a very small part of the many freedoms we enjoy. But going back to the election, I would like to thank the residents who voted for me. But before I even go a little bit further on that, I want to thank my dear wife Holly and my family. They have put up with me being gone. Holly walked also many doors with me. I just don't even know how to say thank you enough to her. She's certainly my best friend as well as my partner in life, and to my family, thank you as well. For those that didn't vote for me, I hope to gain your trust and your trust in the next few months. I know it's been a very tough year. We certainly not only have budget issues, we certainly need to heal, and I would hope the healing process starts right away as a community within ourselves, and hopefully with all the good things that are going to come in the future here with the new council coming in, that we can also do that regionally as well. I'm sorry, I still feel that Monroeville is a wonderful place to live. My family, I raised my family here, and I just love Monroeville, and I know all of you do as well. To my poll workers and all my friends that helped me, I don't know what to say to you, just thank you. There's so many of you, I would hate to miss one of you, so just thank you to all of you. Also to the Democratic Party, Jan Rawson, and all the help that they offered as well. I do thank you for that as well. Moving on to a couple of things. This is for Tuesday. I will be vetoing the ordinance number 2599, which was passed October 8th, 2013. And I'll read that to you very quickly, and I would hope that our Wage and Policy Committee understand where I'm coming from. I, Mayor Aracinco, veto ordinance number 2599 enacted on October 8th, 2013, which deals with the police collective bargaining agreement. The reason for my veto is that 4 new council members, now elect, have not had an opportunity to have any say or any input into the negotiations leading up to this contract. I am certain that the newly elected council will be anxious to bargain with the Wage and Policy Committee to arrive at a new police collective bargaining agreement. This should be a big priority for 2014. I would ask that our police department understand that not only I, but all 7 members of council not only support you, we will do everything to make sure you have all the tools and everything necessary. I agree with some of the comments that were made by our residents that should have been negotiated. There's still about 15, 16 months anyway, something to that effect, left on the current council, the current agreement. And I would think that the new council with the 3 that will be remaining in January will do a very good job with negotiating with you on that. In regards to the incentive program we've heard about, that the administration's proposing to the employees for their consideration, I will also veto that if that does come forward. Again, I think the new council has every right to review that, put their own program together. I don't think that it's fair that an outgoing council is burdening or spending money that the new council has not an opportunity to review. Concerning baseball and soccer agreements, I will not sign either document, and I will ask at the next meeting that both soccer and baseball not sign it. It is my understanding they're not happy with it. And if I'm misled or misunderstood that, and they are happy with the agreement, I would ask that they contact me. If they are good with it, I will sign it without question. I also received a letter from Councilman-elect Ron Harvey requesting that this council consider allowing the newly elected council persons to attend any meetings that involve council, executive, legal, personnel, budget, or any other special meetings to ease the transition process into January. I place copies of all of the above as well as in each of the mailboxes for the current council as we speak. I would hope that you would support this. It is certainly this council can reject that by a 4-member veto or no. But I would think that since we're so close, it would be my hope that now that all the elections are over, hopefully we can get back these last 2 months with just taking care of the business of our residents and what's good for Monroeville. Again, I think that it's fair for the request of the 40 new elect council people to have that opportunity to sit down. As everybody knows, we have a very tough budget coming up. It's not going to get easier overnight. And there are going to be some tough decisions, and one of them happened to just be the senior center. As you well know, there's nobody that I've talked to is in favor of that. So that's an issue that needs to be addressed. Plus, there's many others. The police contract being one, we have other contracts coming up as well. So hopefully these last 2 months, I would ask that all of us be adults, just take care of the business of our residents and what's good for Monroeville. And with that, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you and good night.